Imagine sitting inside an airplane at 35,000 feet, looking out the window at a world where the air outside can be colder than minus 60 degrees Celsius. At that temperature, exposed water can freeze almost instantly, and the cold is dangerous to the human body. Yet inside the cabin, people are sitting comfortably in t-shirts, drinking coffee, and watching movies. So how can a huge metal airplane stay warm while flying through some of the coldest air on Earth? So, let's discover how do airplanes stay warm at minus 60 degrees Celsius with Origin Files Hub. The strange part is that airplanes do not carry giant heaters like a house does. And the secret does not begin with the cabin heater, it begins with the engines. When an airplane flies high above the clouds, the outside air becomes extremely cold. But that air is also very thin. The aircraft is constantly moving through it at high speed, and the engines are doing something remarkable with that cold air. Before the air enters the passenger cabin, it passes through the engine. Inside a jet engine, some air is compressed to extremely high pressure. Compressing air makes it much hotter. In fact, the temperature can become hundreds of degrees Celsius. But the engines are not simply sending this scorching air straight into the cabin. That would obviously be impossible. Instead, a controlled amount of hot compressed air is taken from the engine and sent through the airplane's environmental control system. This is where things get interesting. The hot air is mixed and cooled to reach a comfortable temperature. The system constantly adjusts the airflow depending on conditions inside the aircraft. So while the outside world may be close to minus 60 degrees Celsius, the cabin can remain at a temperature people find comfortable. But there is another important reason passengers do not freeze. The airplane's body acts like a giant insulated shell. The cabin walls contain layers of materials that slow down heat moving from the warm interior toward the freezing outside air. Windows also use multiple layers, helping reduce heat loss and keeping the inner surface from becoming dangerously cold. And the airplane is constantly producing heat. Thousands of passengers, lights, electronic systems, and other equipment all release heat inside the cabin. That heat may seem small compared with the enormous cold outside, but together it becomes useful. The environmental system can then manage that heat and keep the cabin temperature within a comfortable range. However, there is one surprising detail. The extreme cold at cruising altitude is not actually the biggest problem for the airplane. At high altitude, the air is extremely thin, which means there is less air available to transfer heat. So although the temperature outside may sound terrifying, the aircraft does not lose heat in exactly the same way a house would on a freezing winter day. That is why an airplane can cross an environment colder than Antarctica, while people inside remain warm. So the next time you sit by an airplane window and see nothing but ice-cold sky outside, remember what is really happening. Behind that thin-looking wall, a carefully engineered system is taking energy from the engines, controlling the air, managing heat, and creating a comfortable little world thousands of meters above the Earth. The mystery was never really about how an airplane survives. It is about how engineers learn to turn the extreme conditions of the sky itself into part of the solution. And perhaps that is the most incredible thing about flying. Outside the window is a world that could freeze you, while just a few centimeters away, millions of people can sit comfortably and forget that the cold is even there. If you enjoyed this documentary, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Origin Files Hub for more fascinating stories behind the ordinary things we see every day. And let us know in the comments, what topic should we explore next?